Hi, this is Teresa from Color Crazy, and this is a short video with tips on how to create the locker-hooked Starry Night Christmas Tree. This was such a fun design to create. It's whimsical, includes lots of texture, and has all sorts of fun elements that you layer on. Here are just a few key tips that will help you create this easily. First, follow your pattern to create the outer rows and the frame design around the tree. You then want to use a marker and trace the tree design on your canvas as shown here. I also highly recommend that you work each section of the tree at a time. This makes it a lot easier. You fill in with the lighter green, working in a circular fashion. And when you're done, your locker hook tree design will look just like this. When you're locker hooking the inner row that adds texture, this poppana with the metallic thread is a wonderful accent. You just want to make sure that you're pulling up loops that are about 1/4 inch in height. They have to be a little lower than the two on the outer side and the one row on the inside to create that nice multi-level look for the frame. And you know, sometimes working in these corners can be really tight. If you have to, just pull up one loop at a time. I'm pulling up a few here just to make sure I have a consistent height in that row. And that's looking really good. But you can see here that's a little bit lower than the outer rows. Here I'm working on the second section of the tree, and you want to pull up a row that's about 1/4 inch in height and keep them pretty even as you work around the design. And if you have to, you can pull up, 2 or 3 loops at a time, whatever makes it easier to work around the design. Here I'm just doing 3 loops. You want to leave a tail as you go, and yes, you'll end up with a lot of tails, but those can be sewn in easily at the end. The gift boxes have a little bit of a 3-dimensional look, and to get that you want to stitch on some bulky yarn, and I would say you need about 2 or 3 layers of this, and you just want to stitch it within the design just like this, and then you're going to want to stitch the fabric strip to cover this and create your gift box. So here I'm just finishing up stitching the cover for the gift box with this wonderful fabric strip. I love the colors in this. It also gives it a nice texture. And there can be a little bit of frame, but you can easily trim that off. So what you do is just wrap like I'm showing here with your tapestry needle until you've covered the entire gift box design. And I like the way these colors look on here, so I'm just going to do this one extra stitch. That looks great. Okay. This kit also comes with the option to add LED lights. This was such a fun part of this, but you don't necessarily need it. If you did opt to buy the kit with the LED lights, you're going to need your locker hook and some jewelry pliers or a small set of pliers to help add these on. And here we've already got this started, so you can see the LED lights here poking through the locker hook design. I haven't sewn any tails in, so you can see all these tails here, but I'm measuring more or less where each LED light will lie so that I know that I have enough to cover the tree. I've already got some set up here, and we're just going to measure these on here and make sure that they fit properly. So here we're getting ready to pull through another LED light. That's the little light right there. You want to make sure you have enough give in the wire right before the LED so that it doesn't pull out the previous work. And then you flip this to the front, and we use the locker hook to hook the LED light through. So use your fingers to arrange this, and then pull it through gently so that you don't pull out all of your work. Just like that. It's always rather tight. And then you unhook your locker hook and use your pliers to pull up the LED. You just want to bend it up so that the LED is showing. And there it is. That looks good. And you can use your fingers or the pliers to help place it, turn it, or adjust it. To make sure that your LED lights are showing properly, you can turn them on and off to see if they're lighting up nicely and visible, and then use your fingers to adjust. This one looks like it should be moved a little lower, so use your fingers or the pliers to move them around. To add the gold garland, you're going to be adding it in section by section, and you cut the strips to leave about 1 inch to 1.5 inch tail that you will thread through the back with your locker hook, just like this, and you thread the edge through the needle eye and pull it to the back. And then you pull this across and measure diagonally across, and then you want to mark it, just bend it so that you know more or less where you're going to be feeding it to the back. And I love the look of this because it stands out in a very sort of three-dimensional way off of the design. There we go. And then you clip that, leave about 1 inch, or 1.5 inches, and then you use the needle eye of the locker hook to thread it through the back. Now, one thing you want to do is turn your LED lights on, just to make sure that the garland will not be covering one of those up. And that is looking good right there. So I think we're good to go, and I'm going to feed that back right there. And then you just work your locker hook to the back, thread it through, and pass it through, and you will be gluing these in the back to secure them later. This is a fun part. So now that you have your garland in place and the LED lights, you get to place your ornaments, and you want to turn your lights on if you use them to make sure you know where they are, and then place the ornaments where you will be gluing them down, just like this. Kind of squeeze them in place so that they stay. And you can actually use a jewelry needle to thread these on and stitch them on, or you can use a glue like Quick Grip to secure them permanently. And there we go. Just place the larger ones at the bottom and then the smaller ones working from the top. Some of these ornaments are so pretty. They're just really jewel-like beads with a little gold or silver accents. That's a pretty one. So just squeeze them in place and get them ready to be glued. To add a bow to the gifts under the tree, use the twine supplied in your kit and the tapestry needle to kind of thread around the gift, just like this. And you're going to want to tie a tiny little bow. So use your fingers and tie first a larger one that you shrink down until it's small enough. Just like this. It's a little bit tough. You might want to have to do this a couple of times until you get it right. But this is looking good. It looks like my twine frayed a little bit, but I like the look. I think I'm going to leave that. And just shrink it until it's small. Just like that. Okay, that looks good. And then you're going to trim it. Just a tiny little trim. And a little more on this side. And there we go. That looks really cute. And to finish your tree design, you're going to be gluing on the final piece, which is this beautiful gold star. This was a great find. It's like a gold filigree, almost vintage looking piece. And you want to add a little bit of glue to each of the 5 points, just about a drop, just like this, on each point. And it's threading a little bit, and you can just remove that with your fingers. I like using this Quick Grip glue because it's really strong adhesive and it dries really quickly. But you can use any other glue that you have around the house that is a craft glue or something like that. And you can use your fingers here to pull off these threads. This glue sets up really quickly, so you're pretty much ready to go. Let me get that thread out. There we go. You turn it over and you're ready to put it in place. And just set it at the very top and press it in place. and your tree is finished. To add a backing, you want to use a heavy-duty fabric and an iron-on fusible to stiffen it. And then you also want to stitch about 1/4 inch on the inside, just like that. This will make it stronger and add a nice backing material. When you're ready to glue on your backing, add a strong, thick bead of glue around the very edge, just like I'm showing you here. And make sure it's substantial. You want a thick bead of glue all the way around the edge. Once you've added your bead of glue around the edge, leave a little space at the bottom for the wire that is attached to the LED lights switch. And I recommend adding a cardboard piece. Cut a piece that fits within the design, and this will further stabilize it because it's kind of a heavy design. Then lay your backing right on top and begin placing it. Start with one corner, squeeze down on the glue, adjust it as you go to make sure you're getting really good coverage and getting it right to the very edge. And I like using clothespins, but you can use binder clips to hold it in place. As I mentioned before, this glue dries really fast, so if you use quick grip, you have to work quickly, adjust as you go, and pin it in place. Once it's pinned in place, use your fingers to press down around the edges as the glue is setting up to make sure that it's nicely sealed. And then the light switch can be Velcroed on the back, or you can hand stitch it so that it stays in place. I hope you have as much fun as I did creating the Starry Night Christmas Tree. This is a great design to display during the holidays, either on an easel as shown here or even hanging on a wall. The kit for this design includes everything you need, including all of the accents and fabric strips and yarn, and it also includes the LED lights as an option. You can find this kit and other holiday designs on colorcrazy.com. Happy holidays!